Hello everyone, and for today's video I want to do something a little different. I've decided on my channel I wanted to create a top 10 tier list kind of sort of playlist, and I thought what better way to start it than to do a JoJo's top 10 tier list. So for today we're going to be doing my top 10 favorite JoJo characters. Now I want to make this clear, this isn't like boom stamp of approval. If you have a different opinion than them, you're wrong. No, this is completely biased. You'll be able to tell pretty much right away what parts I kind of favor. There's definitely parts I favor where the characters are just on the list and other parts are kind of lacking a bit. Although that's not entirely true. It's really weird. Sometimes I can have like no favorite characters in a part and I'll like it more than a part with a bunch of favorite characters. I'm weird with my JoJo likings. I don't think I'm abnormal though. You'll see as we go. Some people might just be higher than you expect, but I'm excited for this, and without further ado, here's my top 10 favorite JoJo characters. Coming in at number 10 is probably a weird one to many of you. It's probably as weird as Araki picking Shigechi to be in his top 10. I think Shigechi was like low, but still, this might sound weird to all of you, but this is definitely one of my favorite characters. Iggy's somehow really annoying at first, but somehow is able to redeem himself later on. He has two of my favorite fights in part 3. Part 3 is lacking typically when it comes to the fighting area. Iggy just goes crazy in the second half. This dog wants nothing to do with anyone in the group, right? He's kind of like, he's a 6 Stardust Crusader, but he's kind of just like there. He joins in, he doesn't want to be there, and it's like, why did we bring him in, Joseph? You know, why did we bring this little dog in? Like, he hasn't done anything for the group. And then the second he gets into the pet shop fight, shit goes crazy. This guy redeems himself full-heartedly, takes a beating, but wins against Pet Shop, and then he leads the group to Dio himself. And then, not to mention, there's gonna be spoilers here. I'm gonna say spoilers for the rest of the tier list. His fight with Vanilla Ice is ridiculous. That is the saddest scene in JoJo history. That's the only scene so far in parts 1 to 5 animated. That's the only scene where I have literally cried. Like, I wasn't bawling, but like, I had tears running down my face. That, and no, I don't think it was because of Abdul. That was an amazing fight, and that fight alone I think would be my top 5 or top 10 fights because of the emotional atmosphere there, and that could have only been accomplished with Iggy. Iggy was someone no one expected a lot with. Iggy looked funny, Iggy did all this, all that, but at the end of the day, Iggy left a mark on me, and I will not forget Iggy, although Iggy, with the release of part 6 and 7, will definitely drop off this list. I want to appreciate him while he's on it right now. Iggy comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is someone with probably a cult following. People love to dress up as him at like anime cons and stuff. And honestly, he's one of the most interesting characters from part 5. He definitely stands above like Abakio and Narancia for me, for sure. This character is incredible. Mista, the luckiest, unluckiest man in the world. The man fascinated with luck, fascinated with conspiracies. He hates the number 4. He hates 2 because it's half of 4. This man has his own stand, which is 6 bullets, and he numbers them. They hold their own personality. This man doesn't have the number 4 in his stand. They skip number 4, the number 4 bullet, it goes to 5. So he has 7 bullets technically in a 6 bullet gun without having the 4th bullet. And the 4th bullet becomes the 5th bullet, and all the other bullets pick on the 5th bullet. Now, if you don't watch JoJo, that makes no sense to you, which is what should be expected from JoJo. But Mista probably has the most screen time in part 5. He has the most fights in part 5, maybe Giorno has more, but it is ridiculous. This man in every fight finds a way to shoot himself. He will shoot himself 1 to 5 times. This man will take a shot 3 times in the head, and every time you're like, Mista's dead. And this dude just does not die, because his fate makes him not be able to die. And that's made clear in the final episode of the part. But Mista is incredible to watch. Part 5 gets blessed a lot for how amazing the fights are. I think a big chunk of this should go to Mista. Well, Passione is not my favorite group, because I find half of them are hit or miss. Mista is definitely a hit. This guy is amazing, and I think it's a shame he's only in part 5. I know he's in some non-canon work, but this is a shame. This character is amazing. He's funny, and he's just really overreactive when stuff isn't that serious. And at the end of the day, I'm glad this boy made it out. He's with our boys from the beginning to the end, and he just does his job and wins basically every fight he's in, when he should not be winning. I love Mista. There's not much more to say here. Mista comes in at number 9. Next up at number 8 is probably someone that a lot of people would expect to be higher. Wait, this is just a normal dude. Wait, where'd my number 8 go? This is just what? I guess we keep going here. I guess there's not much to say. This guy just looks like a normal dude that goes to bed at 8 and drinks milk and does 20-minute stretches. Okay, all jokes aside here. Yoshikawa Kira is an amazing villain. This is a villain where JoJo nails it. JoJo doesn't have bad villains. They're all just kind of like, they're good. Like, they're all above anime. Like, JoJo, character-wise, is always just above average anime. But, for, like, everything. But Yoshikawa Kira is perfect. Araki went out to make a serial killer, a psychopath, and he nailed it perfectly. He has a need for everything to be right. Like when he's fighting an opponent, he finally beats them. Like Koichi, when he impales this dude and he fixes his socks. That's his first thought, is to fix his socks. Like, unless you're watching this, and I probably won't have this on screen because I'm trying to like avoid spoilers, people do skip through. But man, he's so good. The only reason why he's not higher for me, because character-wise, Araki nailed it. The only reason why he's not higher than me, for me, is that this man needs 3 abilities to be able to be called the main villain. He needs 3 abilities to have like that menacing final boss feel. Because let's be honest here, his physical attack is weak. He just gets dropped, and he probably would have got dropped to Kuchi. And listen, you shouldn't get dropped to him, alright? Josuke, Jotaro, drop him every time, 10 out of 10 if they're in a physical fight. And in the final fight, I do feel it gets taken away here by the fact that he has, like, a cat, Flower, does the fighting and does a better job than him. If we take away Bites the Dust arc, because that arc is not much of a fight. While you're probably wondering why am I bashing this guy so much when I praise everyone else, I'm literally just bashing him because I know a lot of people will have Kira in the top 3. It's Kira top 5. So I have to rationale why he's dropped below, because everyone knows how amazing he is. I just had to drop him because I feel he does not look as menacing as he probably should, especially as the part goes on. He does get dropped way too easily. But Kira is the perfect representation of a serial killer, and Araki did an amazing job. It's no wonder why people consider him to be the best villain in the series. Coming in at number 7 is Josuke himself, the 4th JoJo and the main character of Part 4. Part 4 is a lot of people's favorite parts, and that's probably because of a lot of the character design going on, and stand-in fights are really well done. And I know a lot of people like Josuke as their favorite JoJo. For me, not personally, but he's up there. Like, there's no JoJo I dislike. Josuke is the son of Joseph Joestar, and he gets a lot of his personality traits. He's really funny, really goofy, a little bipolar actually. If you make fun of his hair or do something like that, he will kill you. He will get really mad and kill you. What I love about Josuke is he gives the main character vibes like the rest do, but he's just a student. Like, so is Jotaro, but he's just a student. Like, he's in class right now trying to do his stuff while people are attacking him and trying to kill him in his beautiful little town. And he just wants to protect his town. He wants it to be safe. He's just the embodiment of love. It's hard to hate Josuke. Definitely the most like wholehearted JoJo of the JoJos, including Jonathan. Jonathan grew up in a darker time. Josuke has a lot of love in him, and he always wants to do what's right, and that's made clear with his hairstyle, and the guy who saved him, he wants to protect his hairstyle. Josuke is amazing. Josuke's fights are amazing. The only thing I have against Josuke for why he's not just higher, because I praise for Josuke all around. Once again, the Kira, I gotta defend it. I won't defend this once we get to like top 5-ish, because I feel like, you know, once you're there, this competition's just too tough. But the reason why he's number 7 is because his spotlight is kind of taken away because of Jotaro. Sometimes it just feels like he doesn't have as many fights and he has to rely on others, which is the theme of the part, which is why it works. But like, it doesn't feel like he's in the screen time or the main character all that much, which is the only thing that brings him down. But Josuke is an amazing Josuke, and I'm sure when the part 2 Josuke comes, and from part 8, sorry, the second dimension Josuke comes, I'm gonna like that one even more, because that seems to be the consensus. Josuke is absolutely amazing. I don't know what else to say. I wish he showed up in more parts, but he's only in part 4. So Josuke is coming in at number 7. He's here. He's finally made it. What the JoJo universe revolves around, this character's made it onto the list at number 6, which is probably higher than a lot of people expect this person to go on most people's lists. Number 6 is Dio. The first villain in the JoJo series, and one of the best villains in the JoJo series. Dio is amazing. I have a bias towards Dio because he's so memeable. He makes the most memes come from Dio. And not that, like, I just love the psychological aspect of it. Like, part 1, like, I used to always have debates back in English classes of, is someone born evil, or are they evil because of their upbringing? For Dio, the argument for him, which makes him so interesting, is it was both. Not only was he born evil, it was possible that he could come out of it. Like, he could crawl his way out, which we will discuss later in this list for some other reason. But not only that was he born in a bad upbringing, and maybe he could have turned it around, but he was born evil as well. So he had double the evil on him. And no matter how much he was saved from the bad upbringing and people wanted to take care of him, he couldn't accept it. He didn't trust anyone. It was too much of a bad life for him. No matter how welcoming the Joestar family was, Dio couldn't trust them. At the end of the day, Dio had to look out for Dio. And it's amazing. Part 1 Dio, maybe not as well. By the way, this is counting both parts. Part 1 Dio, maybe not as good, but I love how he shows love and respect for Jonathan. But part 3 Dio coming back in and just wanting all that power. Finally not failing like he did in part 1. He understands the threat of the Joestars. He's the most menacing stand user, I believe, for right now from parts 1 to 5. Like, oh, you may go, but Diavolo was cool and time skip. Yeah, no. How they built up Dio, they spent like 30 episodes going, what's Dio stand? And then when you get near him and he's going down the stairs to pick up Polnareff and move him down further and going back. And while it's funny to think about, it makes Dio look so menacing when you just don't know what's going on. The guy opening up the coffin, all of a sudden he's inside the coffin. Like, you have to watch what I'm talking about. But Dio is amazing. The build-up for his stand fight is incredible. I know some people aren't a biggest fan of his flying fight at the end there, although they are technically not flying. It's really good. I love its ending. The reason why he's so high is because I feel like the death of Dio, technically if Araki wanted to, he could have ended the series there, and I would have been happy. I would have been happy if I didn't know there was more JoJo's to be had. Like, that was incredible. I'm obviously happy JoJo continued, but Dio for me is the center for all the evil in the JoJo universe, and Araki did it amazingly. Dio's coming in at number 6. It's a shame he's not higher, to be honest. Coming in at number 5. We're officially in the top 5 now, ladies and gentlemen. Number 5 is the part 5 main protagonist, Giorno Giovanna. I love saying that name. Now, he's the son of Dio, but he's the main protagonist. You may be going, what? But the evil. Yeah, what's great about him, he's also the son of Jonathan, to be fair. What's great about him is he had a terrible upbringing. He has a terrible background, which is half good, but half just terrible. So it should cancel out and just be evil. What I love about Giorno, and what a lot of people don't understand, is he comes from pure evil, but he doesn't let his life define him. He doesn't let all that stuff define him. He chooses to do the right thing, and he wants to fix all of Italy. People don't get his character. People say he has no character. His character is quite literally determination. He's the most determined Joestar out of any of them, parts 1 to 8. He knows what he wants to do right off the bat, and he's going to do it, and nothing is going to stop him. No matter how bad his background is, he wants to take away drugs. He wants to be the boss of the mafia, and he wants to do what's right, and I love that about him. People can get behind him. He's charismatic. He's the perfect blend of Jonathan and Dio. And his stand, the ability to give life, perfectly represents that. His stand grows life, and that coming into fights is amazing to watch. Some of the best fights along with Mista. Part 5 really nails the fights in my opinion, and the design as well. Giorno looks really cool, and he's only 15. But man, he has like one of the best themes in the series too. You probably hear it right now in the back. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, and like even at the end, GR, him having like the upgraded ability of his stand, is the reason why JoJo fans can argue against Goku fans. Because while Goku may beat everyone else, we can go, hey, we have GER. You can't beat GER. Man, Giorno Giovanna, absolutely amazing. He slept on more than he should. It's actually 50-50. People sleep on him. People either don't get it or they adore him. I'm on the side that I adore Giorno, and I would kill to see him again and again and again, but we're done. His appearance is part 5. That's it. I love Giorno. One of my favorite JoJos, and a lot of people like to say Araki missed with him. A lot of people don't get it in some places. My friends don't get it. Giorno is... You just have to watch the part. Giorno deserves being number 5, and honestly, a lot of people have him as their favorite character. But for me, he deserves number 5, and it's going to be next to impossible to shake him out the top 5 spot. He probably would only drop once part 7 hits. But yeah, Giorno's coming at number 5, and he's going to sit here for a long time. Coming in at number 4 is Bruno Bucciarati. This man, I know people don't like using the term JoBro for everyone, because it's not technically right, it's not proper, but I'm still calling him a JoBro. He is incredible. There's so much to say about Bruno here, and I think everyone who watches the show just gets why he's up this high. Bruno is the leader of the group in part 5. You're like, oh, what about the main character, Giorno? Nah, Bruno is the leader of this group. He's the one that recruits everyone, even Giorno, and he instantly falls behind Giorno and believes in Giorno's dream. He's just a really good guy. Like, he's leading a mafia group, right? And this is probably the nicest mafia group to ever exist. He pulled all these people out from down in places where they were down bad. You know, they're in prison. They lost their job as an officer. He brought them all out from down there, and he joined the gang to be like the good inside the gang. He's trying to stop drugs. He's trying to help Giorno so he can take over the mafia boss to make Italy a better place. He's just like the best character. He's the mom of the group, and people call him the mom of the group. Just check the Reddit anywhere, because he's actually, it's so heartwarming, because he's so proud whenever any member of his group does something right. He smiles like a mom looking at her baby. It's so hard not to love Bruno, and he does the right thing all the way to the end. Spoilers, obviously, because I already warned you for spoilers. This man dies, and with the help of Giorno comes back, but he dies, and he continues the mission. I wanted to swear there. He continues the mission. This man is dead and still fighting for his cause. He has to die 2 times for him to be put away. And it's incredible. He happily accepts Giorno to take his replacement. And honestly, in my opinion, Bruno carries part 5. I know I just praised Giorno, but Bruno is like a decent chunk ahead of him. Like, it's like I didn't have to like swap these two. Like, I just knew he was ahead. Bruno's incredible. His stands, sticky fingers, where you can open like little pockets with zippers and he can use stuff. He has some of the most creative fights in the show. It's just, I don't know what to say with him. It's like seeing your mom in the show and feeling just happy that she's being successful. Bruno is a guy, by the way, but he's just the mom. You have to watch the show to understand. But Bruno is easily number 4. He's my second favorite JoBro. All right, he is a JoBro. I don't care the terms you guys want to use. He is a JoBro, and he deserves his spot. Bruno's coming in at number 4. All right, and before we get into the top 3, because once I say like my third or second top guy, people are gonna have a general idea of who the top one is. So I'm gonna do my honorable mentions now. These are all characters that are in the top 15. Like, it won't necessarily be 5, top 15, top 20. These are still characters who I adore. Like, let me put in perspective. My top 10, every single one of them, like down to Iggy, are above average anime characters. They are incredible. These guys are still above, like, the honorable mentions. Like, only in like maybe the last honorable mention. I'm not putting them in order because I don't want to rank 15 or 20. But like, there's only like one person in here that might fall below the average character line, like average being a good character. But these are all honorable characters, and honestly, they're all incredible, and people need to put respect on their name. And when they're done here, we'll pick right back up with number 3. Finally, the top 3. Coming in at number 3 is Polnareff. So you can probably tell I love part 3 by now. Polnareff he really is the main character. It's the same thing as Bruno. He really is the main character of part 3. He's absolutely incredible. He goes on a hero's journey. He's one of the few characters that go from a hero's journey, meaning they're in a bad place, something changes, they adapt to this new place, and they learn something new, and then they continue and repeat. Polnareff's the only one that goes through this, typically. His character has to evolve as the show goes on. He has the most fights out of anyone. Like, the enemies are teaming up on Polnareff. It's really unfair. Like, this man's trying to go use the washroom every second episode, and he's getting attacked. And his character development from, I only care about myself, I want to avenge my sister, to, hey, we need to stick together as a group and win this together, that's the only way possible, is absolutely amazing. His character development is incredible, and honestly, part 3 is where he shines so much. And I don't know, like I love Kakyon and all that, but I'm glad Polnareff survived instead if one had to live. It's incredible what this man has to go through. And then he shares the Iggy fight with Vanilla Ice in one of the most saddest fights ever. And the second, if people, I know people who weren't on Polnareff's side, but the second that fight's over, people cared about Polnareff, and they said this man deserves to live, because that was an incredible fight. And then not only that, Polnareff gets to come back in part 5 as the mentor character. And while he does get turned into a turtle, I love how they brought him back. Like, me and my friend were watching, and I remember being stressed out that they were going to kill him, because I know a lot of shows that bring back characters just to kill them off, and I hate that. It's for a cheap shock value. They bring him back in part 5, and you think he's going to die, and he just turns into a turtle, so he gets more years added to his life. There's so much to say about Polnareff. He's a funny Frenchman, and he went from a selfless asshole to one of the best Stardust Crusaders who made it out of part 3 and also made it out of part 5. Polnareff he's just one of my favorites, and even when part 7 and part 8 are out, I don't see him, like once we're in the top 3, I don't see him dropping off my top 10 ever. Polnareff is just one of those characters I connect to. I believe in his hero's journey. It's all very credible to me, and I'm just very happy he lives. And every time I watch part 3, he's the one that makes it so watchable, because there's some fights that just aren't good. Polnareff is what saves the first half for me, and I really appreciate him for that. Polnareff deserves the 3rd spot. Coming in at 2nd place is the classic, most popular JoJo character of all time, the one that got the series to just boost up in popularity in Japan, Jotaro Kujo. Now, you're saying, well, Kira's in part 3, he's the main character of part 3. Why do I like Polnareff more in part 3, but he's ranked lower? Well, that's simple. Jotaro is in every part with stand users in this universe. Like, I'm aware of part 6, I'm gonna leave him out of there. I'm not, like, that wasn't even in this ranking, the part 6, like, bringing that part in. But not only is he the main character of part 3, he comes back for part 4 to be the mentor character. But he's not just a mentor character. He's there the entire time, and honestly, he kind of steals the spotlight from Josuke in the final fight when he just beats up Kira. And then he's even there for a little bit in part 5 to mentor someone, and it's absolutely incredible. I love how he's the one now that is connecting all the parts. And not to mention, he's like the coolest looking character, right? Like, much as you go, oh, he's kind of bland, he's the edgy guy. He's the coolest looking character. And you know what? That's what he does. And I love his character growth throughout the series as he goes from like a really angry teen doesn't give a shit about anyone. Throughout part 3, as the fights go on, he starts to care about the people around him, and then when he loses them, he realizes how much they matter, how much people matter, and he learns to smile a little bit, and that's when he comes back in part 4, he's just even better. Because he is the mentor, he realizes what a good, reliable person is like, and he realizes how important these people are. And it's just, I love seeing him come back. Like, if he was just in part 3, he wouldn't be this high. He would be top 10, but he wouldn't be this high. The fact that he just comes back in part 4 and has a massive role, I just love it so much. It's like what Joseph did. And then in part 5, you even see a little bit of him in his new design. He's looking so cool. And then he's going to come back with part 6, and so he's not going to move down anytime soon. He actually just might gain a few points. I don't know if he'll take number 1, but Jodo Kujo and Star Platinum, while the fights are very basic with him, being able to time stop and all that, it's just very cool. Like, Jotaro is the one Joestar. JoJo, I say Joestar instead of just JoJo sometimes, I apologize. He's the one JoJo where, yeah, you can get behind other JoJos and love them more, but you get hype behind Jotaro. Like Steely Dan, when he fights him, you feel so good. Like when the intro's playing and you're getting to the big arcs, you get so behind Jotaro. You want to see him kick ass and avenge everyone that has died along the way. And because he's such a badass, he has such a badass demeanor, it's so impressive and you believe him. Jotaro deserves second spot. He's a lot of people's favorites, but a lot of people hate on him because it's just Jotaro. No, he's incredible. He deserves a spot. Jotaro is what made the series popular, and he deserves my second favorite spot. Jotaro's coming in at number 2. And coming in at number 1 is my favorite JoJo, my favorite character in the whole series. The JoJo that's always smiling. Joseph Joestar. Now, this is an unpopular pick for the West. People tend to like Joseph the most in the West. People go like, oh, maybe because he's in like New York. I think it's New York. He's in New York a lot, but no, I'm Canadian. For me, it's all about this man is the funniest He's the funniest JoJo. He always has a smile on his face when he's younger. He like single-handedly, like, I think is what makes part 2 one of the best parts. Because, you know, Hamon's cool and all, but part 1's it's good, right? It's nothing special though. The second you get to part 2, they're using the same power system and he just saves it. Araki realized how to make Hamon work, and he realized that with Joseph Joestar. And he was so good that he carries on to be Jotaro's mentor for part 3, and he's there like the entire time. And he's still being the funny Joseph, just a lot less smiley, but like the oh my god, it's the funniest character ever. He is the comedic relief, but he's also the savior of the day and took out some of the toughest villains in part 2. I can't talk enough about Joseph. He'll probably be my favorite JoJo even after part 8's animated. It's just, he's just my type of guy, the comedic guy. He's my type of guy. He comes back in part 4, a very old man, like, and then in part 3 when he's like dead, quote unquote, I was heartbroken. And when he comes back, I was so happy. That part 3 has my favorite ending out of all the parts. Like part 5 is a little just like, oh, hot potato with the arrow, you know. I think part 4 is a little too focused on the time going back. It's a little too much talkative, and then Jotaro just saves the day. Part 2 is really good though, and part 3 is really good, and they both have Joseph Joestar in there, and I really appreciate that. Like, I think he really saves some parts. He's easy to get behind, and people who weren't too sure about the series by the end of part 1 instantly went, hey, there's something here with part 2, and they just stayed watching. And I loved how he's the first JoJo to really carry over to another part and go, hey, main characters can live, they can carry over. Look at me, we're gonna get the job done again. It's incredible. I love the episode when he's with Josuke in part 4 and they're bonding. I just love Joseph, and it's sad we're not going to see him again in further parts. I wish we saw him in the second universe, but apparently Araki said he does the exact same thing, which is really weird. So his part 2 in the Steel Ball Run universe is the exact same thing. Joseph is just so weird, so funny. He's unkillable. He lives to 1,000. I don't think there's much more I have to say here. I love Joseph Joestar, and that's never going to change. I don't know if anyone will ever top him. Jotaro could possibly move up and down. Like, Jotaro's the only one, I think, with maybe part 6, but I think Joseph's going to stay. Jotaro can move down and get replaced. Joseph is staying at number 1 for the foreseeable future. I love Joseph Joestar, and he takes my number 1 spot. Alright guys, that's it for my top 10 list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember though, it's biased. It's my opinion. It's not like the end all be all, you know? You're allowed to have Joseph Joestar number 9. You're allowed to have Joseph Joestar number 7. You're allowed to have Jotaro not even on your list, you know? Everyone is allowed to have their own opinions here. This is just my opinion. I love making lists. I'll probably do more JoJo lists. I just want to do lists in general. I probably have a few more ideas for a few more JoJo lists. But these are my 10 favorite characters. This will change when maybe I'll redo this when part 6 comes out, depending on how much it changes. If it changes a lot, I will redo it and put parts 1 to 6, you know, new. I'll do that for parts 1 to 7 as well, when that comes out in 5 years. But yeah, I really love doing this list. I'll probably do more JoJo lists. I'm doing lists of all types of kinds. I love doing lists, so there'll be a whole playlist full of them. I hope you guys at least understood my top 10 JoJo characters, and I'd love to hear yours in the comments. Everyone who does watch this, if anyone watches this, put your top 10 JoJo characters in the comments if you can off the top of your head. I'd love to know who people favor, and I maybe put why, like a quick little explanation beside them. I just want to see what other people think. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, this is my top 10, and I value you guys' opinions. I want to see what you guys think, and please take care. Meme team out.